Welcome to Trees in Space, the podcast that gives an honest review of movies that you think you may want to see. I am Jason, and with me is Nathan, and this week we watched The Boogeyman. This is The Boogeyman from 2023, and I had to specify that because there's like 15 different Boogeymen.
When I was a kid, I liked a movie called Mr. Boogedy or something. I don't remember what it was called, but it was with the Boogeyman.
Oh, I remember that.
It was so old, and I've been trying to want to watch it forever, and I just can't find it. Oh my god!
You're trying to want to watch it? I don't think the name of the movie was that. I think that was the name of the character, though. Mr. Boogie. Wasn't he like a? Wasn't like a animated movie type thing?
No, it was a live action style.
Oh, you know what?
And it had a guy with a mustache.
Mr. Boogie in A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh.
The ghost thing. I think it was called Mr. Boogie.
Something like that.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So this movie here is it's rated R. It's a horror mystery thriller. It's directed by Rod Savage, and it was written by Scott Beck, Brian Woods, and Mark Hyman. Or Heyman. It's probably not Hyman. I mean, I think he's named after part of the vagina, but he might be. I don't know.
You never know.
You're good. So basically, the premise of the movie is this. High school student Sadie Harper and her younger sister Sawyer are reeling from the recent death of her mother. By the way, that's a spoiler, even though it's ruined in the movie like immediately. And they're not getting much support from their father, who happens to be a therapist who's doing pain of his own. You know, the whole basics. A parent has to die for these movies to happen. And then when a patient shows up at his house seeking help.
That was Dave DeSmalchin.
Do what?
The actor was Dave DeSmalchin.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. He leaves behind a terrifying supernatural entity that preys on families and feeds on the suffering of its victims. That is this movie. That's the whole point behind it.
I am so happy I watched this movie in the daylight. I learned while watching this movie that it's superior compared to some of the other movies we've watched. However, God, it was I don't know.
It was very well done. I thought it was excellently paced.
Yep.
I thought the acting was great. The father, Will, I can't remember the actor's name, but he plays in a few things. He was if anybody watched the Mindy Project, he's the main male character person in that TV show. He also played in the Nike movie. Not the Nike movie, but the movie about Jordan.
Oh.
Yes. Air. He played in that. Love him. He's a great actor. It reminded me so much of a movie called Babadook.
Never heard of it.
And I think it's Babadook. I think this movie is Babadook because Babadook is from England or Australia or something. I think it's the same movie, and they just called it The Boogeyman. It's a little different, but
I felt horrible for the main actress. The amount of trauma and therapy this poor girl is going to need is crazy.
No doubt. It was just I love I didn't understand the friend dynamic. There were parts about this movie that I really loved because it seemed very realistic as far as like friends are and stuff. Like I think one of my favorite parts was when she's in the bathroom and she's sitting in the commode or whatever, and then her friend bothers her or whatever and starts talking to her in the bathroom, whatever.
Right.
She stands up and looks over the stall, talks to her that way. And in the middle of the conversation, someone comes in. They don't come in when the conversation's done, like someone finishes a sentence. She's in the middle of saying something and people come in.
Right.
That's how it should be. I know it's very small, but that's just good directing. That's just good acting.
I just don't understand why all the girls are so bitchy, except for one. Like, there's no need to be rude. The poor girl lost her mom.
I know, the one blonde girl.
Oh, she's a bitch.
I know. And how is she a friend? I mean, she's...
Friends like that, man, who needs enemies, right?
She's not friendly at all. It wasn't like she would like said something spiteful out of ignorance. She was just mean.
She was just being rude, yeah.
It was just, especially at the beginning, like in the high school. it was like when she squished that on her because she pushed her because of something she said.
Yeah.
I can't remember what she said because I'll be honest with you, the first 30 minutes of this movie, I'm trying to watch it. I can't hear half the shit they're saying because everybody's whispering like this. Everybody's whispering like this. I'm like, okay, so I finally moved to my bedroom where acoustics I think are better and I can hear things. Because in this room I can't hear anything, so I had to move to my room with the and I could start hearing stuff. The movie was dark though.
It was a very dark movie, like aspect ratio dark. It wasn't like dark in tone. There was no,
that too.
But there was no like real humor in this at all. There's no heart. Like it just, we're gonna try to scare you for an hour and 30 minutes.
And they did a good job. I think they did a damn good job. I think they did it early.
Oh, I jumped when that little girl rolled her moon under the bed. I jumped, and that's when I messaged you. And I was like, "I'm glad I watched this in the daytime."
Yeah, because that was great. The way the director in the, as you say, cinematography. That seems to be your thing that you look at a lot, at least in the last reviews we've had. The cinematography of this movie was excellent. The use of shadows, the use of camera angles, how you're seeing in different areas, like in the basement when you're seeing through the rolls or whatever that was. How you probably don't remember. Yeah, but
I'm sorry. I have two other movies in my brain right now, so I'm trying to like this movie.
Yeah. But it's and I really liked how the father, he was having a tough time, but he wasn't ignoring her when she was having issues, or the child. But when the little girl gets thrown to the TV,
right?
I'm like,
and how do you not? And then you think it's okay to go back home?
I know.
How much more evidence do you need?
Exactly. And the thing was when she's going to find the dad at the hospital, and they're talking in that room, and he's talking about how this is the hospital they brought the mom to because the mother dies in a car wreck, I think is what happened.
Yeah.
And then she goes, I saw it. I know what it was. And he's like, okay, because he's listening. And I thought, okay, he's not being, he's not just, brushing her off like she's crazy. And then he says, were you high? I smelled marijuana on you. Were you high? Because people get some people get anxious. Some people I saw a creature. I don't give a damn. I'm going to dance with them. And it's like, and he goes, because come on, a monster in the closet. Seriously, if you don't believe this and someone's telling you there's a monster in my closet as an adult,
yeah,
you're going to be like, there's a monster in the closet.
And then really? I didn't expect the wife to still be alive. The guy that hung himself.
Oh, yes.
That was a twist. I didn't expect anybody to be in that home.
That was a big twist. And because when they first pulled up there, I'm saying to myself watching this movie, no way. There's no way that house is not sold. Someone, no matter how shape it is, someone's going to buy that house because that's a nice neighborhood. Someone have bought that house. They would have easily. Of course, it can't be for sale because she still lives there.
Right. And what's the deal with blacking out all the windows? The boogeyman hates the fucking light. Why would you have...
Because she's trying to bring out the boogeyman. That's what she was trying to do.
So she's been just trying to trap this thing forever.
Yes. And obviously that came to fruition and I love this scene when she tacks the girl and chains her to the wall as bait. And she goes, I'm just, and because if someone asked me, will you please get, locked in while this book, I'm like, no, fuck you, I'm not doing that. So she does that. And then the boogeyman comes and blows out all the candles.
Yes.
That scene was so intense for me. I'm like, okay, this is pretty awesome. And then she shoots the fuck out after he trips on the tripwires. I mean, it was just done so well, I think. And I like how the father found out the truth too.
It was until towards the end. Like,
that's true because okay, I'm listening to you. He goes, okay. He stopped. He goes, I'm listening to you.
Oh yeah, and they get pulled in the door.
Yeah,
but
like a Freddy thing.
But I'm talking like when I want to say her name is like Sadie or whatever, the youngest. What was her name? Harper.
I think Sawyer. Sawyer was the youngest one.
Yeah. So when Sawyer has like the Christmas lights wrapped around her and she knocks over the box and the turpentine falls, I was like, all right, this is how you kill it. You got to light it on fire.
Yes.
And like and I was like, and of course the Zippo's gonna come into a play. Mom's gonna show up and drift it to the left. I was like,
well, but you know that's what I'm saying. It's a step-by-step horror movie that pays off what it sets up early on.
And then,
and I love.
Does anybody?
Christmas beautiful though. That was great.
It was, though. I didn't enjoy the blinking of them, because there's a moment of pause where the boogeyman could make its entrance.
I guess that's probably true.
And then I was like, how long is this fucking extension cord? And how did she have enough time to find an extension cord, then find Christmas lights, and then find air spray, and then go into a closet?
Oh, that's well. I'm going to assume the Christmas lights were already in the closet. That's what I'm going to guess. I mean, because she was there a while though. Because I mean, how long did it take for that girl to get home? We have no idea where she was.
Yeah.
Where Sadie was. So. As far as the Christmas lights, I'm glad you said that. The turpentine, I thought the turpentine was going to come into play also, but not the way it did, because she had to grab the turpentine and throw it on him.
I thought I thought the lighter was going to hit it and then just conveniently torch it.
Yeah, exactly. But they set it up so it's not so unbelievable, bro. And I don't know what happened to Daddy's leg, but that son bitch broke when right for the ankle. Like, God dang, what the man do to you? Because
it was like a Nick Chubb injury.
It was. I was like, God, dog. I'm surprised he didn't pass out. But some other Christmas lights you were saying. Oh, yeah. When she lifted the light earlier on in the movie, she lighted it up. And she goes, push it to the left if you hear Mom, whatever. And she's... I don't remember any conversation with anyone saying that you know a spirit's around if they can move a light. Did that conversation happen with the mother in the other house?
I don't think so. It was just like she saw her mom in like a vision, and then she was just like, hey, if you're here, move the flame to the left.
So just a random thing she said, because that was just kind of thrown in there.
Yeah.
It'd be different if someone said they were like, trying to contact her, and someone said, spirits will move a flame if you ask them to. If that was brought to her brain, and then if she saw it online or something.
Right.
But I will tell you the most unrealistic part of this movie, and it's not even the boogeyman. It's not. The most unrealistic part of this movie. See if you can figure it out.
I am trying to, but I can't.
Well, it's probably because you didn't think about it, and of course I'm trying to make you think of 90 minutes of a movie of tons of different things that happen, the most unrealistic part. And that is the camcorder batteries not being dead.
Yes.
She opens the camcorder and it just runs. Like, no, that son of a bitch is dead.
Well, how long ago did Mom die?
I don't know. I think it's long enough to where... I think it happened over the summer. Because I think they just started school again. But I think it's long enough to where her friends are like, okay, it sucks, but, go, do more things.
Right.
But not so long that the children have overcome it yet. So I'm thinking probably 3 months, 4 months.
I was thinking 6. So, I guess the camcorder could still work. But
the thing is, do you think they were using the camcorder 6 months earlier? Because the video on it is when Sadie's a child. So the camcorder probably hasn't been used in 10 years.
True.
And it's packed up.
Right.
And that was another great scene, the packing up the stuff.
And Dad's just like, I'm going to get rid of all of it. And she's like, I'm going to keep all of it.
Yeah,
and then it burns in the fucking house. And then who gets charged for arson? How does the insurance get processed with this?
I'm so glad you brought that up. And it's just a random thought. Nate, you're a beautiful man. You're a beautiful man. Your brain works like mine. And I was thinking to myself, I'm going to watch this, and I'm thinking, okay, is it illegal if you own your home? If you own it. Not if you own your home because there's no more mortgage on it, right?
Right.
You own your home. Is it legal to burn your own house down if you don't claim the insurance?
Yeah, because it's larceny.
If you claim nothing.
Or arsony.
But it's your own home. You're not hurting no one else. Say you can't hurt no one. Say it's like out in 15 acres. And you're not hurting no one else. And you burn it down, but you're not claiming any money on it. It's arson, but is it illegal? Because
I'm sure you'd require some particular permits. Because like you can't just add an addition to your house. You need a permit, and you'd be legal to put an addition without it. So I'd imagine if you want to burn your own home down without any insurance claim, then yeah, why wouldn't it be illegal?
Because of, we don't want to talk about government politics here, but I know when I was in Georgia, we had people, the volunteer fire department, people would donate their houses or their structures they own on certain places that were condemned and said, go ahead and we'll burn this down so they can get practice on fires. Now, obviously, that's not illegal.
No, because you're coordinating it with the fire department, and they're there on standby to burn your house down. You hired a hitman to burn your house down.
But so, anyways, the Rotten Tomatoes score on this and the audience score are very similar. The Rotten Tomatoes, which is the critics say 61%, and the audience say 66%. On this wonderful, scary. I thought the scares were great. The first 5-star review, Horror C. Movie was great. Some creepy moments in it, and I loved how they made the concept of this one as some kind of monster that you're trying to fight off for your life. It's very poorly written. I didn't like the end. I didn't like where she got called because the boogeyman.
Oh yeah. That's right. They're in the therapist office,
and then she shut the door.
Right.
Yeah.
So it leaves it open for a boogeyman too.
I think it would have been a better ending if the it does, but they could have done something different with that.
Yeah.
But I think it'd been better if they just the therapist comes back in and says, "Oh yeah, I needed this." Like the therapist is the one who actually called her.
Right.
Because they can always have a different boogeyman later. They can do 1,000 different things. I don't think they need to do that, but that's only the issue I had. But that was the one of the 5-star reviews.
Stephanie L says that this movie is terrible, and why is there always some bitch that bullies their friend or whomever and never gets beat the fuck up? Come on, movie was cheesy, unoriginal, and generic, not a horror movie.
Stephanie, you're wrong. It was cheesy. It was unoriginal, and it was generic. It was a paint-by-the-number horror movie, but it was a horror movie.
Mm-hmm. And I think it played well. I mean, it got me to jump. And
yeah. What do you want? I mean, Lim C came into this with no expectations and was very pleasantly surprised. Yes, all the tropes were there, but they were well done. Good acting, well written, nicely concluded. I'd watch it again. Didn't feel corny at all, and the characters are likable.
I could see me watching this in 10 years because I forgot I watched it the first time.
Yeah, it is. It's like, didn't watch this? No, you watch this movie. Oh, it's the same movie. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Susanna V with a 1-star or less review. Glad I watched it at the theater. Otherwise, I would have fallen asleep. The Haunting of Hill House is 100 times better if you want to watch something like something along the lines.
The Haunting of Hill House, I think I saw that. That's like from 1990 something. So that was a good movie too. H2. There's hope for the future of movies. Out of the couple hundred or so movies I've probably seen since 2020, maybe 10% of them or less have been good. Woke culture has ruined horror and movies in general. This is not one of those movies. This is probably one of the best movies of the past 4 years. I don't know if it's that good. It's just a movie that wants to entertain. Yes. This is what movies should be. No propaganda, just entertainment. There's good jump scares, good anticipation. Can't be predictable like good horror should have been or be. Nice effects and a satisfying ending. Okay, see I agree with that, except for like one of the best movies last 4 years. I mean,
that's that's too much high praise. I'd say it's probably one of the. I'd probably say it's one of the best movies of the 6 months that it came out.
Yes, I'd say it's one of the better horror movies that I've seen in the last, month.
It's definitely yes, and it actually made me jump. This is the only horror movie that we've watched that actually got a jump scare out of me. Yeah. Everyone else was like, yeah, whatever. This can't be his name, but Jeffrey Dahmer says the backstory was complete.
That was the name. I'm assuming it's not the same one.
Somebody's parents hates him. The backstory was completely missing except for the unsupported reference by one of the characters. The plot was disjointed with no character development. I will disagree. I think the lead female character developed. The dad developed. I mean, clearly after he got thrown across the basement and broke his leg, he's going to believe.
Right, and not to mention it's hard to have a lot of character development in a horror movie because of the time frame the horror movie takes place in. It's a very short time frame.
Yeah.
You're only seeing a few days. And the backstory, that's what I liked about the movie. The Boogeyman doesn't have to have a big backstory. He's the Boogeyman. You know, he's doing bad things. You can already know the backstory. It's like you don't need to watch a movie with a backstory of Batman. Everyone knows it.
Right, exactly.
You know it. I mean, you don't need a lot of...
no, just toss a line or two and be like, oh, yeah, he showed up this way.
And this is from...
No, go ahead.
Yes. So, okay, and the what the F from Joshua. The food was cold, the power went out. We had to watch 30 minutes of the movie in silence, and they replayed it, and we never got to revisit the scene. Then still have the nerve to charge us for this terrible experience. Not to mention the pungent smell of sewage throughout the entire theater.
What does that have to do with the movie? That's a very unfortunate deal, but that has nothing to do with this movie.
Reviewing a theater is one thing, but it's like...
Yeah, this would be a review for Yelp, maybe not Rotten Tomatoes.
Maybe not. I'm just like wondering if this is what 4D movies are going to end up being like. When you see them, you know...
I want to go see a 4DX movie. There's a few 4D theaters out there, and they sound incredible.
Yeah, you can imagine like watching them and they're going through the sewage plate, and then you actually smell sewage. You're like, oh, I ain't eating my popcorn now. I don't think I want that. But yeah, so any final words on this, sir?
Overall, I think it was a decent movie. It wasn't very long. It was digestible. I think I watched it mostly through. I think I maybe took like 2 breaks. Glad I didn't see it in the theater if it came out in theater. I would probably give this movie... I wish I remember what I gave all the other movies, but I think based off merit alone, this movie as its own, 3 trees.
And I agree. I don't know what the other ones I've given, and I should not base this rating off of those ratings, just this by itself, because I mean we only got up to 5 we can choose from. So sooner or later we're going to have one movie so much better than the other one, and they're going to have the same amount of ratings,
right?
The same rating. That's going to happen. So I'm going to give this one, because it's a horror movie, unless it's The Exorcist or The Shining, it's not going to get near 4. So I'm going to give it 2 trees, 1 stump.
That sounds like a fair rating, and I would like to say thank you to everybody watching. Please like and subscribe if you're watching this video on our YouTube, or if you're getting this wherever you get your podcast. Please give some stars, review, and let us know what movie you might want us to review. Leave a comment in the post, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can, or you can send us an email, talkingstuffpodcast@gmail.com.